This is the book that I have been reading, Becoming a Supple Leopard by Dr. Kelly Starrett. I think I'm saying his name correctly. You can follow him on Instagram. I'll post his follow stuff down below so that you can do that. But I'm like barely into this book. I found this book from another really big lifter that I follow, and he does a bunch of different exercises all the time, just testing them out, and highly recommended this book. And so here we are years later reading the book. But that being said, he talks about archetypes or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it the right way, but he has essentially 7 drills that he's broken out that breaks down the starting position and the ending position of primary movements in bodybuilding, weightlifting, I should say, and like Olympic lifting. So you're in a squat, you're in a press, all those types of things. And he has determined that if you do these exercises, these tests, I should say, you can figure out where your mobility or your movement is lacking, and then you can use the techniques that are also in this book, because we barely into it, to correct those. So that's what we're going to try and do. And you're going to have to bear with me because I have never done this before. And we got about 15 minutes to work through this. So if we don't get through it all today, next week we'll reconvene and continue going through the different things. So we're going to start with the shoulder archetypes. I should learn how to say that word. Maybe you can tell me how to say that word. But essentially, they encompass any position or movement that requires you to stabilize your arms over your head. Now, I have a shoulder injury. My right shoulder, I injured it in the military. I have played rugby on it, and I know that it is still not fantastic. So I know that I don't have the greatest range of motion without pain, so I might not be able to do this because I can feel it right there. So the best way that he says to test this is to do a dead hang from a pull-up bar with a chin-up grip, so hands facing me, and let's test it. You, me, yes? Cool. Let's see if I can even reach the bar, because I feel like I can't. I feel like I can. That's the wrong way though. Don't hate, appreciate. So all I'm doing is just dead hanging, my grips facing this way. So I think, just myself. I have not done a chin up in forever. I don't even train that way. I wonder if that's a mobility thing. We should look into it. Oh my gosh, am I even gonna be able to do it? That's all I got. Okay. Move the camera so I can see from a different angle real quick. Hold on. Alright, we're going to try this from a different angle. That's my warning. I got 10 minutes. Okay. This is really hard. I don't do a chin up. Like ever. This just shows you, 1, how fat I am, and 2, how weak my upper body is. I might have some quads and stilts, but I don't have pull-ups. So, yeah. Oh. Okay, that's all we got. Okay, so while he says doing that test is one of the best ways to test it, you can actually physically test it without getting on the bar. So we're going to try that too. So I have to reference the notes here because I don't do this. Thumbs pacing behind me. Okay, so I'm going to stand feet shoulder width apart. I'm bringing my hands up with my thumbs pointed behind me. I'll just go like that. Okay, and then we're going to do it from the side so I can, see it all, because we're going to watch this back and see where we're at, and then come up with a game plan. All right, so feet, thumbs going behind me. The second part of these testing, which we won't do today because we don't have enough time, is to do it with weight. And so he shows it with a dumbbell, just over the head, which I do a lot. You saw me do that just a couple days ago. But that will be for the next stage in testing our mobility once we go through all these. So that is the shoulder archetype test. Archetype, I should learn how to say that. All right, so the second test is the press test. So what you would see in a push-up and a dip, something similar, where your hands are pressing like away. So the best way that he talks about doing that is testing it with the dip format. I cannot do a dip. I don't even think I can do an assisted dip, and we don't have a setup for me to do a dip. So we're gonna do it in the push-up stance. Now, there's a planche test, if I'm saying it correctly. She looks really fancy here, her hands are back. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do it, but we're gonna try it out. You're gonna try it with me. And, oh, that's the loaded test? Oh, I can do it just standing up. So perfect, we're gonna do it standing up, and we'll save the loaded test. Maybe we should just do the loaded test. We should just do the loaded test. So I'm gonna do the dumbbell loaded test before we move into this, because we're just gonna do the load test while we're doing it. Okay. So back to the shoulder press. I'm gonna get me some 10-pound dumbbells. Lightweight. All right. Whoa. How are we feeling? Feeling good. Yeah. Essentially, like this. So shoulder width, we're trying to keep the arms parallel, shoulders back, like this. Okay, and then when he rotates to the front, hands go like this. We're still trying to maintain that parallel, which is here and here. Oh, I can feel that activated. Okay, so that's the unloaded test. The loaded test is that planche position. So let's get into that position. Planche position. I'm gonna start out this way. No judgment, this is a judgment-free zone. That's key, okay. So my toesies are gonna be up. Well, I think that's the first indicator, because I cannot get my hands behind me to do this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this at all. Maybe we'll just transition to the push-up, which I'm supposed to have my elbows super far back. I don't think I'm able to do this on my, well, let's test it. Before I self-doubt myself, let's just see if I can do push-up form, which is just a plank, a high plank. So high plank, nope, I cannot hold my body weight up. So we're gonna do this off my knees, which should give me the same test. Oh. I'm gonna go, I can't do this. Okay, we've identified an area that I need to work on, but I already knew that my shoulder stuff sucked. So let's do a time check. It is 6:27. I don't think I have enough time to do more exercises today. So we're gonna stop mobility testing here today. We have done 2. We've done my shoulder archetype test and my press archetype test. So next week on Tuesday, I will continue the trend with the next 5 tests. We'll probably push core back and do the testing first, and then if we have time for core, do it then. And then Charlie Mike with the rest of my life there. But the struggle bus is real. I really like this book. I've already learned quite a bit off of it. For starters, my feet position has been really bad. I have everything that I know about lifting and in the gym is self-taught off of YouTube videos and other people that I've seen in the gym. So folks that I was in the army with, and my brothers, and random people in the gym that have helped me out. So Nothing concrete has really been there. There's been a few good people that know a lot about it. So the big thing that I have learned in reading his book is my foot position when I'm doing squats and presses and all this stuff is wrong. I, if you can see my hands, have been putting my feet out like this because that's what I thought you're supposed to do. But you know what you're supposed to do? Have them parallel. Do you know why? Because it helps you have more force to push and do the things. And it allows you to torque out, which I can't do with my feet very well yet. But essentially, you're just like grinding yourself into it. So I've been pressing wrong my entire time in the gym. And it's probably part of the reason why I'm having foot problems now, because I've taught my feet that they can do that and it's fine. And now I have to correct that while also working on my foot mobility and my foot strength because my feet are weak. So it's good stuff. I'm excited to slowly work my way through the book. It takes forever because it's in-depth knowledge. He uses words that I don't know on some of it, but it's so good. So highly recommend if you are trying to figure out crap in the gym that you get the book. But I'm gonna end it here because I gotta go get breakfast started and my day started. Don't make fun of me. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone here, and yeah, we're doing it. We are making progress. I got my butt out of bed today when I didn't want to. I was out of a REM cycle and I was tired. So happy that I did it. Booted the dogs out, had some love, and let's get breakfast started and my day. And I will see you next time, which is tomorrow, for another full body workout. I'm excited. Did you know that I weighed in this morning at 251.2 pounds? What? I know it's not accurate because it's the middle of the week and blah, 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 but I saw it and I was ecstatic because it means that I'm moving in the right direction. And I know that I'm not super dehydrated because I drank a bunch of water before bed last night and I have been pounding it at work. So I feel like we're on the right track and I'm starting to get that little bit of momentum that you need to keep going. But I keep talking. So I'm going to let you go and I will see you next time, folks. Have a good one. All right, good morning, folks. We are back for part 2 of mobility. We are working through the different archetypes outlined in becoming a supple leopard as far as testing my mobility, my range of motion, and identifying what I need to work on as far as improving just overall. So last time we did the press and the overhead archetype. So today we're going to start out with the hang archetype, the front rack, the hip, front rack 2, squat 1, squat 2, and the pistol, and the lunge, and that's it. So just a few archetypes to work through. I already know my hip is going to be terrible, but we're going to do it. And welcome. I just did warm-up, so we are good to go. Let's start out. All right, so the first archetype of today, number 3 in his book, is the hang archetype. Essentially, it's something that you do in the finished position of deadlift and starting for deadlifts, clean snatches, and whatnot. So essentially the goal is to position your wrists behind your torso with your elbows up to your chest level. So let's try it. And this is the unloaded quick test. And then we'll grab a pair of dumbbells and try a loaded one. We'll start from the side first. So wrists behind the butt, elbows to chest, stand up straight. Feel pretty good about this one. Front, it looks kind of like this. Yeah, a little bit there. And then the loaded test looks like essentially just a high pull. So we're gonna do it with this bar over here instead of a dumbbell. So we pick fingers together, down here, pull up. Pull up. Feels really good right there. Leave this here in case we need it. So that, did not bring my glasses in. That is the hang archetype. Remember, I'm gonna go back through and analyze these after the fact so I can kind of see what I'm doing. We have the front rack. This one is essentially what you would start with: front squat, push press, kind of very similar to the push-up. Actually, I think it's almost the exact same. So we're going to start with the unloaded one. The goal is to get your palms and the pits of your elbows to face the ceiling. That sounds difficult, but we're going to give it a try and see what goes before we go into a loaded quick test of it. All right, so front rack 1 test. Palms. Yeah, we got it. Yep. Hi, Miss Daisy. All right, go from the side here. Whew. Just facing the ceiling. And then, hello. It's just going to be a simple push-up position. All right, now we're going to test the push-up position, seeing my palms are out, my elbows are fully locked out, which is just essentially a high plank. So pardon the dogs here. I'm just going to come right here and do this real quick, which I feel like I am able to do. Same thing facing this way. Hi guys. Yes, yes, I love you all. You all are so loved. All right. Push-up position, high plank. Check that box. Feel confident about that. Boom. All right, front rack number 2 test is essentially being able to elevate your elbows to shoulder height while maintaining the same stable shoulder position. So, elbows to shoulder height. This is going to be a hard one. And then we do this one unloaded and then loaded and see where we're going. Palms up, elbows at shoulder level behind the ears. Cool. Let's give it a go. See, ooh, sorry, pup. Essentially, we have a barbell. We're front walk. Hello. We're front racking it. So, shoulders up. I feel pretty good about that. Hello. Good morning, little lady. Good girl. All right. Now let's try the loaded, which we're actually just going to get the barbell and try it because I know this is an area that I struggle in. And rotate. Don't kill any dogs. All right, so front rack position. And then rotate so we can immediately see I cannot really get my elbows where they need to load it. So we need to work on that. But I already knew that because I've tried front squatting and I can't do it hardly well. All right. Whew. So that's front rack position 2 testing. Next we move into hip archetypes. So essentially it says here, the squat archetype is the most fundamental across the board. It tests the external rotation and the knee, the hip, and the ankle flexion. Words are not my strong suit. So essentially the only thing I'm going to do is get down into a squat position. Try and keep my head and shoulders neutral, my spine neutral, my hips below the crease of my knee, my knees out, and my feet neutral. Now remember, I just learned that my feet are not supposed to go out. They're supposed to stay straight. So that is the basic quiz test. And then the loaded test is just with a barbell. So we'll go ahead and do that. Time now. Feet centered. Hands in front. Neutral spine. Down. And up. Immediately I notice my right foot is twisting out. This is something that I have noticed I have a problem with. So my right ankle is not doing great. From the side. Hello, Miss Daisy. Hello. All right. Hello, folks. Hello. Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So we already felt it with my right ankle. Now it's time to transition and do a loaded test with the barbell and do the same thing and see what happens. Hope you guys saw that because I've never done that before in my life and I feel like a bad A. Not gonna say the bad word, but I feel like a bad wordman. All right, so squat test. We're focusing mainly on the feet, the ankle. Hopefully you guys can see it. If not, I'll have to redo this, but here we go. Down, ooh, leaning forward. Ankle's coming off the ground on my right foot again. But I feel like I was able to hit the position from a sideways angle. Here we go. Oh, again, right foot and my left foot a little bit. My right foot, I'm completely off my heel on my top of my foot, my ball of my foot. But I can definitely hold the position down there. Coming up, I've got a little pain in my hip, but not too crazy. Boom. So that was the first squat archetype. Feel pretty good about that. We definitely know problem with my foot. My ankle could be coming from my hip. Who knows? Because I have hip pain there. Could be just type hip flippers. All right, so squat 2 archetype is the deadlift and the pulling position. So essentially the goal is to get my torso parallel to the ground or my hips flicked at a 90-degree angle. So I'm gonna keep my head neutral, my shoulders neutral, my shins vertical, and then my back flat while leaning over. And then we can essentially test this with a kettlebell and get the same result there. So let's go ahead and try it. Here we go. Hi guys. So again, keeping my back straight. I'm just gonna come around the dogs here and come down. Oh, hello, hello. I feel pretty good about that. We'll do it this way as well. Oops, sorry, stepping on tails. All right, and we'll try it here as again. So firmly planted like we're doing a deadlift. Hi Daisy. Come down, keep back straight. Oh, pet the doggy, pet the doggy. Oh. All right, let's try it loaded. So I've got a 20-pound dumbbell here. Should be essentially the same thing. So, bend down, kiss the dog. Oh. And then again from the front. All right. Ooh. I feel that in my hamstrings. They are tight, tight, tight. That was squat number 2, archetype. Moving on, that's a pretty good loaded quick test. We have the pistol. All right, so essentially the pistol is what you would be doing getting off the ground in the base of your squat, but actually fully loaded. So it says here I don't have to be able to get in and out of this. I just should be able to sit into the basic shape without falling on my butt. So I don't actually have to do a pistol squat. I just have to be able to sit in the position. There is no loaded test with this because you're either on it or not, and I can do 2 feet or 1 feet. So we're gonna try it, and it should go pretty well. So here is the pistol test on the ground. If I fall, don't laugh at me. We are all on the same team here. All right, since I know that my right hip is bad, we're gonna start with the left foot. There's no way I'm getting down in this. This is impossible. All right. We're gonna try. Nope. I cannot get into this position. Can I get into I can't do a pistol squat. I can't even sit in the position. There's not even a chance. Hi. Good boy. Good girl. All right. Moving on, we have the lunge archetype. And so essentially, this is going to be really focused on the rotation of the hip. It has to do with walking, you know, taking the stairs, lunging. So we're going to do it in a lunge position. The knees should track behind your hip and the lean should remain vertical. So my front shin should be vertical. My feet should be a 79 degrees flexation. The knees should be positioned behind the hip, and my knee in front should be neutral and aligned with the foot. Let's give it a go, see? All right, so foot up, neutral, flex the toes. Am I supposed to like sit in this position? Can I like, I feel pretty good here. The loaded test is just simply putting your hands above your head. Okay. Hi, Daisy. Let's try this way over here. All right, so do the other foot. Okay. I feel that. All right. Whew. Moving on. All right, folks, so that wraps up the 7 different archetypes outlined in Becoming a Supple Leopard tests on my mobility and my range of motion. So I'm going to look at the footage, see what I can see from the camber side. I know just off the bat my right ankle is not good. Well, that went in the mouth. Thank you. I've had hip pain and shoulder pain. I couldn't even get in the pistol squat. So we've definitely got some things to work on there. But I'm excited to kind of take this as a baseline, evaluate where I'm at, read this book, come up with ways that I can improve my mobility, which is essentially way better than stretching. There's some banded things that I was looking at that I can try and different things, and I need to work on my foot strength, especially my toe strength, my big toe strength. So things that I can work on, things to focus on, a path forward, and I like having a path forward and a goal. So I'm going to wrap it up here, and hopefully hopefully you guys don't think I'm crazy for how this looks and for how poorly I did on some of the things. I shouldn't say crazy, but I did my best, and I'm excited to see what it is and move forward. And maybe you guys learned something, maybe you didn't. Maybe we're all just figuring this out together. So until next time, folks, doodles. Bye bye.